Welcome to IBIS Weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for September 8th, 2025. And we're going to talk about Hurricane Kiko as she makes her final and closest approach to Hawaii. Possible another system trying to form over there in the Eastern Pacific. And then, of course, where are we with the Atlantic side of the tropics? So let's go ahead and get started over here. So as you can see here in the Eastern Pacific, it's kind of interesting. It gives us kind of this visual of what Eastern Pacific is as well as Central. As you'll notice Kiko over here, close to the Hawaii Islands, but you will see this orange area of interest that is south of southern and southwestern Mexico. It has 10% chance of forming in the next 48 hours and 50% in the next 7 days. It's a tropical wave. It's entering the far Pacific from Central America. It's expected to create a low pressure by the middle to latter portion of this week. Offshore of the coast, environmental conditions are favorable for additional development, and tropical depression or storm is, likely to happen um, over here. But it is expected that right now, at least, it looks like it would probably stay offshore, which is good news. Of course, let's talk about Kiko, the storm of what we're currently been covering. So Hurricane Kiko right now is a Category 1. She's downgraded from Category 2 from earlier today, as expected. She is moving northwest at 15 miles per hour, so it's more northwest than westing, which was a good, moving more northwest than west was a good thing for Hawaii. As you can see her winds have expanded a little bit. Orange indicating how far out her tropical storm force sustained winds go, and then the red maroon color indicates how far her hurricane force winds extend out. She will be downgraded to a storm later on to that night and into tomorrow. She'll continue to track well north of the islands, being kind of like what Erin was to the East Coast and Bermuda, meaning close, not obviously nowhere near the size of Erin, but still a storm that is breeding rough surf and, of course, the rip currents. Looks like we should not expect any winds. Earlier today, we did see that they are having a tropical storm warning for the offshore waters of Hawaii. Right now, not any of the land, which is good for the actual land and the people of Hawaii. And you can see it will continue to track northwest before it kind of turns a little bit north than west, and then of course becoming a depression by this weekend. Again, as I said, this will be tropical storm force, so the earliest possible times you guys may see on the Big Island and so forth, a tropical storm force winds will be later on tonight, and then the last island having it tomorrow. But it seems unlikely you guys might have the closest chance of feeling something like a stray band kind of rotating off and coming over shore would probably be the most farthest portion of Hawaii. So, right over here, this island continues to track northwest. Key messages, again, she'll continue to pass north of the islands tomorrow and Wednesday. So that's good. No direct impacts right now are anticipated. Of course, we should continue to monitor any progress in the latest forecast because things can change, but it does seem unlikely right now. Of course, your biggest risk are going to be the large swells being created by her. So if you are out there surfing, please be careful. Listen to any of your National Weather Service in Honolulu, and of course, any of your beach warnings as well. And of course, rip currents are possible with Kiko passing to the north as well. And then this is the current satellite presentation of what Kiko looks like. She's definitely a sheared mess. You can see the big island of Hawaii and so forth over on this side. So as I anticipated last week, they were thinking there would be a wind blowing from the southwest to the northeast, and that is helping keeping law of the convection as she continues to die out and peter out more to the north and east away from the island. So that is definitely good news for everyone. So she doesn't really look like what she did at her most formidable, but that was anticipated. So we can all take a collective sigh that this is another storm that is not bringing a lot of destruction with it this year. And for the sake of staying consistent, here are the spaghetti plot models for it. So as you can see, this is the GFS, all really, again, agreeing her staying well north of the islands. Again, a few models taking it a little bit closer to the very final island at the end of the chain, but still not over it, so that is good news. And then, of course, with the GFS, the same goes. Definitely see more taking a few outliers saying it will go more north. And then others say keeping her more west of the northwest. But again, it looks like the island should stay good, which is good news. Now for the Atlantic, as we shown yesterday, there are currently no tropical activity expected to form in Atlantic as of right now, which is good news. But don't hold your breath thinking that's what the rest of the season's going to be like. I do think this season's going to be like last year, meaning I do think we're going to see a lot more of a backloaded. Typically, seasons kind of seem to come in pairs. A good analogy or a good example of this would be the 2004 2005 hurricane seasons. 2004 was destructive and terrible for Florida, and then of course 2005 was a season where we had Hurricane Katrina and Rita. And then, of course, if you look at 2016 and 2017, we also had two back-to-back seasons. So that does seem to be the theme. So we'll kind of have to continue to wait. Of course, that means we should be watching as we work towards more of September, closer to the end, and then to October. We probably should keep a closer eye over here, as those are the areas that Helene and Milton both fall. And then to give you guys an idea of what they're thinking, so this is the areas I think will be the hot topics for the next 2 weeks. So starting on the 10th, they do think we'll see, which correlates with the waves coming off the coast of Africa, and with that Saharan dust getting kind of out of the way, moving more toward the middle. There will be at least a 20%, if not less, chance of forming over the Verde Islands, and a little bit west of that. And then, of course, over there in the Gulf and Caribbean, with also a 20% chance off the southern coast of Mexico and southwest coast, I should say. And then, of course, even higher percent of 40% or less in that area. And then we'll see that 40% actually happen over closer to the Leeward Islands for the week of September 17th through September 23rd, and just the 20% area growing in total. And of course, we're seeing it still remaining as well, changing a little bit in shape over there by the Gulf, and then of course by Mexico. So the season's certainly not over right now. Things are calm in Atlantic. The Pacific is still creating some systems. We have Kiko going over there by Hawaii. And then, of course, we do have another wave that might very well just not either form and stay well offshore if things are going the way they think it will. Um, so again, short video as we continue to work through these systems and we see these systems, form and degenerate. These videos will get shorter and more frequent. We'll see how long we continue tracking Kiko. She probably will be at the end of this week in a tropical depression and thus falling apart, so there won't be any updates on her. We may have something obviously off the coast of Mexico at the time to track as well. Because I'm sure everyone's going to be curious about that. But right now for the Atlantic, it is quiet. But I will continue to be tracking the tropics for both the Atlantic and the Pacific going forward for the remainder of the season. So please like, share, and comment. Feel free to follow me on Facebook. It is also IBIS WX on Facebook. I do have a link of it on my page on YouTube. If you are curious to follow me over there, where I do post a little bit more frequent updates. And like I said, I'll keep you guys updated the rest of the season and continue to track this together. And until next time, I'll talk to you then.